So hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to OLP session. And my name is Manish, and today we're going to talk about a very important topic. And I'm sure कि आप लोग इस topic से creative ideas के ऊपर, I'm sure you may be struggling with it, maybe having difficulty, and I'm here to solve your all difficulties and give you some suggestions and tips for today's session. And I hope these suggestions and tips will help you out, will help you to come up with better and creative ideas. All right. So before we move on, so just give me a yes on the chat or thumbs up that I'm loud and clear, I'm audible to you. So please, someone, am I loud? Am I loud and clear? Am I audible? Can you hear me clearly? Just give me a thumbs up or a chat in the live chat on YouTube. Okay, great, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Uh, Today's topic, as I mentioned in the beginning, it is very, very important from design point of view, right? So today's topic, जैसे आपने देखा होगा, how to think of product design ideas, right? And ideas, when you talk about ideas, so more or less in a universal term, we can say we are talking about creativity, okay? And since it is a design exam, so the creativity is assessed at every exam, be it NID, UCEED, and CEED, and any other exam, whichever exam you give or wherever you give. It is a very important aspect of design. And especially the questions which are asked in these exams are curated in such a way to test your creative ability. And that's a very important skill to have. All right. Okay. So today we're going to dive deep into this, that how to be creative, what are the challenges or struggles or hindrances students face while preparing for the design exam when it comes to creativity. So with that, let's begin. All right. Now, before we dive into this, we're going to think about something which I'm sure you must be surely aware of it. You must have experienced with it while we are preparing for the exam. Okay. So what are those things? So, but before that, I like to give a disclaimer here. Okay. So what is that disclaimer? This is very important to understand. While what I'm going to discuss today, जो मैं आपको बताने वाला हूँ, जो या आपको मैं सिखाने वाला हूँ, जो आपको मैं समझाने वाला हूँ, वो एक रूल ऑफ थंब नहीं है that you have to follow exactly what I am going to share here. These rules are based on observation, experience, learning, and practical application over the years that I have applied in my design journey. But you feel free to break those rules. So these are rules that mostly have worked for many designers across the globe. But as I said, it is not necessary that you have to follow these rules. So having said that, so we'll move forward that how to think about product design ideas or how to think about ideas in general. Have you ever faced with these questions whenever you attempt these questions or practice questions, whether you're practicing NID, UCEED or CEED exam? जब आप कोई creative questions के आप question solve करते हो, तो I'm sure you must have faced or asked these questions to yourself. So what are those questions? Why can't I think of an idea? मुझे कोई आइडियाज क्यों नहीं आते जब मैं कोई एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करता हूँ किसी क्रिएटिविटी के क्वेश्चन के ऊपर? या फिर हो सकता है माई आइडियाज आर वेरी जेनरिक, बहुत कॉमन है, ये तो कोई भी सोच सकता है, मैं कोई यूनिक आइडियाज नहीं सोच पाता. या इट कुड बी दैट आई गेट क्रिएटिव ब्लॉक, and this is one of the comment which we often get from many students over the years, that they have this creative block. Okay. या हो सकता है what if my ideas already exist, क्या मेरे आइडिया शायद ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, इसमें कुछ नया नहीं है, कुछ नया क्रिएटिव इनोवेटिव नहीं है. या फिर शुड आई फोकस ऑन फॉर्म और फंक्शन, क्या मैं फॉर्म उस डिजाइन का ऐसा फॉर्म बनाऊं जो वो क्रिएटिव होना चाहिए या फंक्शन पे मुझे ज़्यादा फोकस करना चाहिए. Other thing could be that should my idea be realistic? That means should it be tangible or practically applicable? या hypothetically या बहुत ही conceptual wild idea होना चाहिए. Or it could be that should I go out of the box thinking? Should I apply out of the box thinking here? Is this exams looking for this, that out of the box thinking? And lastly, why do others' idea are more creative than mine? This is again a very common another observation among students. When we look at some other ideas, we get this feeling, maybe my ideas are very weak, they are very not very creative, not very innovative. Okay, I'm sure that you guys must be resonating with this all this question. If you are, do give a thumbs up in the chat box that you resonate with these questions. You may have faced these questions in your life while preparing for this exam, maybe one or maybe all of them, maybe some of them, right? So do write yes or thumbs up in the chat box. If you do so, then you're not alone. Okay, so you're not the only one that you're facing this question or faced these questions. Even me, including me and other professional designers, have been at the same place, the very place where you are right now. वैसे उसी जगह पे मेरे जैसे और भी प्रोफेशनल डिजाइनर्स पूरे वर्ल्ड में और आपके जैसे स्टूडेंट्स भी इस जगह पे कहीं ना कहीं एक पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम में आते हैं या उन्होंने वो एक्सपीरियंस किया है. एंड दिस इज अ नॉर्मल पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोसेस. ये कोई नई चीज नहीं है. तो यू शुड नॉट फील दैट आई एम द ओनली वन इन द वर्ल्ड दैट हु इज फेसिंग दिस चैलेंजेस. ऑलराइट, ओके. Okay. Now, why is it that when we look at some others' work, or that when we look at on Pinterest, we are looking on Instagram, we are looking on Google or on internet or wherever we are on some blogs or something, that some ideas stand out and you look at them and say, wow, क्या idea है, क्या design किया है, क्या creative idea है, या काश मैं ऐसा कर पाता या कर पाते. मुझे ऐसे ideas क्यों नहीं आते. क्यों उनको आते हैं? शायद उनके पास कोई स्पेशल टैलेंट होगा. मे बी दे आर बॉर्न विद दैट नेचुरल टैलेंट. The truth is, reality is, they are not born with natural talent. It is some simple exercise, some simple methods they have done over the years to become that creative person. So it is very much possible and which applies to all the designers. हर कोई आज को जो प्रोफेशनल डिजाइनर है वो इन सब प्रिंसिपल्स को अपने हिसाब से, जैसे मैंने कहा था, they break the rules somewhere where then and somewhere they follow the rules, but they have created that a pattern, a routine, a methodology for themselves where they follow these things and they come up with creative ideas. Again, it's a process. So let's say, what are those things? Why we are not creative? Okay, the first thing, the creative people, this is one of the most important skill. It's observation. Okay, observation skill is one of the important skills in design. ये बहुत जरूरी है. अगर आप ऑब्जर्व नहीं करोगे तो आपको समझ नहीं आएगा कि आपको डिजाइन क्या करना है, बिकॉज इंस्पिरेशन कम्स फ्रॉम ऑब्जर्वेशन of the things which are around us. Okay, so what do creative people do? So they closely observe their environment, their surroundings. What they observe tiny details. कोई प्रोडक्ट हो सकता है, कोई सिस्टम हो सकता है, कोई सर्विस डिजाइन हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है वो. Okay, they question that. Question meaning that, okay, why is it designed like this? What is its purpose? इसमें जो फंक्शन है, फंक्शन से हमें क्या अचीव होता है, ये या उससे कौन सी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करी जा रही है. What was the intention of the designer or the person who designed that particular product, system, service, or any other design? What was the end goal? They analyze that. उसको analyze करते हैं. They take inspiration, they take ideas. Then they also connect things. What kind of things we are talking about? Though they may not be related to each other, because most of the ideas that will come to your mind, will be combining some unrelated things. Okay, if you combine very related things, you'll come up with a very common and creative idea. So that's the first part. Observation skills जो है ये क्रिएटिव लोगों के पास में बहुत होता है. This is the major difference between creative and non-creative people. All right. Next, this is another very major problem. Fear. Fear ये उन स्टूडेंट्स में होता है या उन डिजाइनर्स में होता है जो they fear that their ideas are silly. they feel that my ideas are very stupid, ये बहुत अच्छे नहीं लग रहे हैं, it doesn't look good. What if examiner, if I show it to someone, they may not like it. They say, अरे बहुत ही vague idea है, it doesn't look good, doesn't look creative, इसमें कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, I have already seen it, I've already exist. So with that mindset, so this fear is the mindset. Okay, the creative people, they don't fear, they don't bother about what other people are going to say. They just keep on creating, they keep on ideating, and without bothering or without any judgment. Okay, so fear is one of the major problem there. Next, this is another very important part of the exercise called creative muscle. So creative muscle कहाँ होता है? ये हमारे brain में होता है. All the people we know that all of us in this world have some intellectual level, right? We are based upon upbringing, हमारे upbringing, education, हमारे environment, हमारा social circle. So we all have different kind of upbringing and learning around us. Now in design, creative muscle is very important. So if you want to think creative ideas, तो आपको उस पार्ट ऑफ ब्रेन जहाँ पर वो मसल, जो उस ब्रेन का जो मसल है जो क्रिएटिव आइडियाज को जो जनरेट करता है, जो हेल्प करता है, उसको आपको एक्सरसाइज करना पड़ेगा. इट्स लाइक एक्सरसाइजिंग इट. अगर आप एक दिन एक्सरसाइज करोगे तो आपकी बॉडी नहीं बनेगी. यू हैव टू कीप ऑन एक्सरसाइज, यू टू कीप ऑन बिल्डिंग दैट मसल. सिमिलरली क्रिएटिव मसल को भी वैसे ही करना पड़ता है. तो यार यू हैव टू ट्रेन योर ब्रेन टू थिंक, यू हैव टू फोर्स योर ब्रेन टू थिंक, देन यू विल थिंक ऑफ क्रिएटिव आइडियाज. ऑलराइट, ओके. Next is thinking style. Now this thinking style will vary from person to person. Like for example, if I talk about myself, I'm a person who is a more of a logical thinker. So when I think about some creative ideas, मैं किसी problem को देखता हूँ तो हमेशा मैं एक logically देखता हूँ. Some people think visually. Visually मतलब they start visualizing. Okay, if this is the problem, this is what the question is asking, they start visualizing the solution. ये ऐसा काम करेगा, ये ऐसा दिखेगा और इसको वो होगा. सो दैट इज द विजुअल थिंकिंग ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टाइल, राइट. ओके, कुछ लोग कहते हैं जो वर्बल होता है, दे आर वेरी गुड एट verbally describing that solution. Okay, now this is something that you have to find your own pattern. If you're good at visualization, okay, then follow that pattern. If you're good at logical thinking style, then follow that pattern. If you have more of a verbal thinking style, then follow that pattern. Okay, so it is depends again from person to person. You don't have to necessarily think visually, or you don't have to necessarily think about being logical. You can give combination of visual plus logical. You can do various ways, kind of thing. It's up to you. Again, as I said, there is no rule of thumb. All right, okay. So if you have any questions, do write it in the chat box on the topics which I'm going to discuss about. And between, I'll be more than happy to answer them. All right. Okay, so moving on. So before we understand how to overcome this, what I just showed here in the previous slide on creativity, the challenges which we face, which I showed in the second slide, the questions which are there. So let's look at a real life example. This is a case study. Has anyone heard about LifeStraw? Has anyone heard about LifeStraw? If you are, then do throw a like and yes on the chat box. Okay. And LifeStraw is a design that was designed many years ago. I think I suppose about in the year 2015, I guess. Okay. And this was designed by a Danish inventor. Danish is called Torben Vestergaard Fransen. There's even a company called Vestergaard, which is based in Denmark. And so this Torben observed this problem, which was a very common problem. Okay, so what was the problem? That people across the world, whether in rural areas or in urban areas, they struggled to access clean drinking water. And especially in rural areas, people are drinking from ponds, from rivers, from muddy rivers, from lake, which were not, very clean because they were containing bacteria, virus, and they were having all this sickness, cholera, diarrhea, those kind of sickness. They were falling, victim to that. And this was a problem, a huge problem for many, many years, for even decades. So here, Torben Vestergaard saw this as a problem. So again, observe this problem. He analyzed it. Okay, what is the problem being caused by this not a unclean water, and he thought of a solution. Okay, and he questioned it. He questioned it. What if water could be filtered directly while drinking without machines? So design something which is simple, easy to execute, easy to assemble, and doesn't require a lot of complex machineries or complex technology, and can be used by anyone, anywhere. Does not require electricity, does not require any special kind of technology, it doesn't require a special type of setup of maintenance. So the result was this filter, which is called popularly known as live straw filter. Okay, so you just just simply put water into it from anywhere, and there's a membrane, there's a mechanism in, there's a filter mechanism in, तो instantly उस water को पीने लायक बना देता है. Okay, so again, this is if we look at this case study, this is a case of, I would say, a very good example of keeping things very simple. Okay, not very complex. And a lot of students, when we look at their work, when they submit their work for feedback, I see a lot of ideas which are very complex in nature. Having said that, it is not that the ideas are wrong, but your ideas has to be something which is understandable, recognizable, and universally acceptable by everyone. Okay, from design point of view. So this is a good case study कि ये एक डिजाइन बहुत सिंपल है, एक छोटी सी एक प्रॉब्लम को ऑब्जर्व किया, मेन कोर प्रॉब्लम को, और से एक सिंपल सा सॉल्यूशन निकाला. ओके, सो बेस्ड ऑन दिस, so the next part is that looking at this case studies, then how to generate creative ideas. Okay, this is what we are here for. This is what this session is all about. All right. Okay. So let's look at some pointers. You can note it down along with it. And if you have any questions around, please do write it in the chat box and I'll answer them. So first thing, as I mentioned in the first part, there is observation. The first part is observation. So what you're observing while solving question or while thinking of a creative problem. So before observing or thinking of a creative problem, you have to look at the problem very closely. You have to look very deeply. Okay, you have to write it down. What are the problems a particular user or in particular scenario, could be with a particular product, a user is facing. Okay, you need to jot down small details. As I mentioned in the one of the slides earlier, the creative people, they notice tiny details. So that is what is meant by look deeply. And when you look at a problem, don't jump to solutions quickly, which many students tend to do so. तो बहुत से स्टूडेंट्स करते हैं कि वो इमिडिएटली क्वेश्चन को देखते हैं, एक बार रीड करते हैं और सीधा एक सॉल्यूशन पे जंप कर देते हैं. अच्छा, मुझे तो ये डिजाइन करना है, क्वेश्चन में ये डिजाइन करना है. ओके, नो, दैट शुड नॉट बी द that should not be the methodology. That should not be the process. The process should be that observation is very important, as I mentioned earlier. तो आपको ऑब्जर्व क्या करना है? You have to observe problems. All right. So which is called finding users' pain points. Which is called finding user pain points. Okay. All right. For the points will be 4 to 5, 6 to 7, whatever they are. So those are the main core problems. We have to observe and write it down. So once you have done this observation, then you have to break the object. So if it is a product, okay, if it's a product-based kind of a design problem, take that product and break it into parts. Basically, break it into assembly. उसको disassembly करना है, उसके जो parts हैं उसको break up करना है उसको. Then start modifying or designing each part. So once you start doing it, rather than going for the whole form, go into the tiny details. Okay. So for example, let's say that you have to redesign a school bag for school-going children. So what are the bag have all this parts? Straps होते हैं, okay, and they have this hanging, the पूरा bag होता है, some chains होते हैं, there's a bottle keeper, and there are small pockets as well. Okay, so you need to break it down. You have to observe. Is there जरूरी नहीं है कि उसमें आपको सब कुछ पूरा ओवरहॉलिंग करना है. उसमें जहां आपको लगता है कि जहां डिजाइन इंटरवेंशन की जरूरत है, जहां डिजाइन इंटरवीन कर सकता है to make the product much better for that particular user, then we start thinking of ideas how to make it better. Okay, how to make it better. All right. So this is what thinking called morphological thinking. Other way is that, as I said earlier, combine unrelated things. So combine things which never go together. Now, this kind of creativity can be applied to alternate uses of products, जो questions पूछे जाते हैं. Okay, और कॉम्बिनेशन प्रोडक्ट्स हो सकता है. ऐसे क्वेश्चंस भी हो सकते हैं कि आपको 2 रैंडम ऑब्जेक्ट दे दिया और आपको कंबाइन करना है, या 5 ऑब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं. ये क्वेश्चंस भी पहले पूछे गए हैं एनआईटी में. यू हैव गिवन 5 प्रोडक्ट्स, रैंडम प्रोडक्ट्स, एंड यू हैव टू यूज ऑल द प्रोडक्ट्स टू सॉल्व अ daily problem. Okay. So for example, a helmet plus air purifier. Now, I live in Delhi, so here we are, facing a lot of pollution problem. Okay, what if I have to design something for a daily commuter who is going on his two-wheeler? Okay, so maybe I can add air purifier into his helmet, or something like maybe a tiny portable kind of thing, which kind of uh, purifies the air which is entering his helmet, because you cannot keep it entirely closed, right? तो कहीं ना कहीं से एयर तो घुसेगा, उसको सांस लेने की भी इसलिए जगह चाहिए, लेकिन उसके साथ में वो डस्ट पार्टिकल्स भी आएंगे. तो एक क्रिएटिव सोल्यूशन हो सकता है. Okay, so at least we thought of something that combining unrelated things to come up with a creative idea. Okay, all right. The last part is empathize. Okay, as I said in the beginning, in the observation, this is very important. So this is comes under design thinking. Okay, so empathize is the first part of design thinking. That add human insight. The human insight कौन है? Who is your end user? जिसके लिए आप कुछ जो product आप design कर रहे हो. So everything, a user is there to use that. Again, could be a product design, could be a system design, could be a service design, or could be anything else. At the end of the day, a user is going to use it at the end of the day. Okay, so you have to keep the user at the center. तो आपको ह्यूमन इंसाइट्स तो बहुत जरूरी है. तो आप भी कुछ जो क्रिएटिव आइडिया सोचते हो, तो आपको हमेशा यू हैव टू अगेन गो बैक टू द बोर्ड एंड थिंक अबाउट द यूजर. डज दैट यूजर रियली नीड इट? Is it applicable for that particular user, be it elderly people, be it children, be it youth or people of your age, maybe people of some particular or disabled people हो सकते हैं. So just don't add ideas or think of ideas just for the sake of adding it. Okay, so there are things also where you need to eliminate. You don't have to integrate all the ideas. Okay, so as I talked about in the one of the earliest thing, beginning of the session, the creative block is one of the major problems, right? One of the major problems. A lot of students, more than 90% of the students, they face this problem. So how can we overcome this creative block? This is very important to understand, and we can apply these principles in our daily practice. Okay. So first technique is called 50 bad ideas technique. So 50 is just a number. It doesn't have to be 50, it can be less and more than that. Okay. So once you start jotting down ideations for a particular product, so start sketching. Okay, start sketching without overthinking. So whatever comes to your mind, without judging your ideas, whether it's good or bad, start jotting down ideas, which are called ideation sketches in design terminology. जिसको हम आइडिएशन स्केचेस बोलते हैं, जो थंबनेल स्केचेस होते हैं, बहुत रफली ड्रॉन होते हैं. ओके, यू हैव टू फिल अप द पेज. इफ यू आर वर्किंग ऑन अ A4 पेज, आपको जो भी आइडियाज आते हैं आप उसको ड्रॉ करो, जैसे भी ड्रॉ कर रहे हो. योर फर्स्ट 10 आइडियाज, योर फर्स्ट 5 आइडियाज, मे बी योर फर्स्ट 20 आइडियाज, और मे बी फर्स्ट 50 आइडियाज will be very boring, will be very uncreative, will be very something which is already exist. Okay, so be it, so be it. So what you have done is that you actually the ideas which have jotted down, या आपने जो sketch किया है, आपने वो filter किया कि ये ideas या work नहीं करते, already exist करते हैं, या तो बहुत ही uncreative ideas हैं. Okay, so your 51st, your 11th, your 10th, your 6th idea, your 100th idea would be the idea which would be very interesting, with a new direction or something maybe innovative. Okay, and this happens with all the designers. It's not only students, it happens with everyone, even with professional designers. Even professional designers till date today, abhi bhi, they jot down, they sketch very bad ideas first, because that's how you're eliminating the ideas which are kind of people have already seen it, or people already know about it. Okay, so it's best that maybe your 10th, 11th, 15th, 100th, 500th idea kind of thing could be the best idea, or the idea which no one has thought of, or you are the first one. Okay, so start doing this. Okay, next one, you will have this creative block if you're sitting for over an hour at your table, or over 2 hours, maybe sitting at 4 hours. It happens with me also. Even now, also after so many years of experience of design, ये सबके साथ में होता है. ठीक है, कि एक टाइम पे हमारे क्रिएटिव ब्लॉक आ जाता है कि वेयर आवर ब्रेन स्टॉप्स थिंकिंग. हम सोच नहीं पाते हैं कि अब क्या आगे क्या करना है और क्या आइडियाज हो सकते हैं. है ना, ये होता ही होता है हमारे साथ, आपने एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा. तो व्हाट शुड यू डू? तो it is very good advisable to take a break, a 5 minute break, 10 minute break, go outside your home, maybe go on the street, maybe take a walk, maybe think something else. Okay, maybe observe something else. Don't think about design. अपने आप को 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए आप अपने ब्रेन को थोड़ा सा ब्रेक दो. ये बहुत जरूरी है, अदरवाइज यू विल बी मेंटली वेरी टायर्ड. एंड what will happen, the result of it, you will start feeling frustrated, will start feeling demotivated, you'll lose your confidence, and you will not feel like attempting or practicing that question, because then your brain again needs to again reset. उसको फिर से reset होने की जरूरत है, and that might happen after maybe a good sleep of 7 hours. तो नेक्स्ट दिन जब आप उठोगे तो आपका ब्रेन फिर से एक रीसेट होगा. okay, बट वेन यू आर वर्किंग ऑन अ प्रॉब्लम, वेन यू वर्किंग ऑन सम एक्सरसाइज, आप कुछ कर रहे हो, तो इट्स गुड एडवाइजेबल टू टेक अ 5 to 10 minutes ब्रेक. द मोमेंट यू फील okay, now my brain is starting to stop here, and I'm not able to think any more of ideas. So get up and take a 5-10 minute break. All right. Other way to overcome creative block is, give yourself a constraint, give yourself a challenge. अपने आप को चैलेंज दो. ये चैलेंज कहाँ से आएगी? एवरीडे लाइफ से ही है. कुछ भी आपने देखा अपने सराउंडिंग्स में, अपने आप को आप अपने लिए डिजाइन कर सकते हो. डिजाइन फॉर योर सेल्फ. ओके, सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अब कंस्टेंट ये हो सकता है कि एज आई से डिजाइन अ प्रोडक्ट फॉर अ लेजी पर्सन. कोई हम ऐसे पर्सन के लिए हम डिजाइन करना है जो बहुत लेजी है, बहुत आलसी है. उसके लिए तो क्या डिजाइन हो सकता है? जरूरी नहीं प्रोडक्ट में, कुछ भी हो सकता है. राइट, तो ये कंस्टेंट है, बिकॉज देन यू आर फोर्सिंग योर ब्रेन टू थिंक. आप यहाँ फोर्स कर रहे हो कि कुछ मुझे क्रिएटिव इनोवेटिव आइडिया सोचना है एक लेजी पर्सन के लिए. ओके, so we understand what lazy person do, what is their nature, their behavior. Similarly, हो सकता है कि डिजाइन समथिंग फॉर वन हैंड यूज, कि ऐसा कुछ हम डिजाइन करें जिसमें सिर्फ एक हाथ की जरूरत है. ओके, डू नॉट रिक्वायर योर बोथ हैंड्स टू यूज दैट प्रोडक्ट और यूज दैट सिस्टम और वॉट एवर बे. अगेन योर फोर्स थिंकिंग, योर फोर्सफुली थिंकिंग योर ब्रेन. ओके, तो ये एक्सरसाइज बहुत जरूरी है. क्रिएटिव पीपल दे फोर्स देयर ब्रेन टू थिंक आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स. तो इसको हम बोलते हैं आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स थिंकिंग, जहां पे आप फोर्स कर रहे हो. आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स थिंकिंग ऐसा नहीं आता है कि आप बैठ गए और आप सोचने लग गए कि अच्छा अब मुझे आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स थिंकिंग करना है. ऐसा तो आपको 3 घंटे लग जाएंगे, आपका पूरा दिन निकल जाएगा, लेकिन आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स थिंकिंग नहीं आएगी, वो आइडिया नहीं आएगा. तो वहां पर आपको जो क्रिएटिव मसल की मैं बात कर रहा था, ये वही क्रिएटिव मसल है, वही एक्सरसाइज है कि आपको फोर्स करना है अपने ब्रेन को. ओके, देन इफ थिंग्स आर नॉट वर्किंग आउट, फॉर एग्जाम्पल मीडियम्स हो गए, अगर आप स्केच कर रहे हो तो अगर आपको वो आइडियाज नहीं आ रहे हैं, तो मे बी स्टार्ट राइटिंग इट. आप राइट करना शुरू कर दो कि मे बी माई डिज़ाइन शुड बी लाइक दिस. मेरे डिज़ाइन में ये फंक्शंस होने चाहिए, ये फीचर्स होना चाहिए, ऐसा दिखना चाहिए, इसमें ऐसा ये ऐसा वर्क करेगा, इसमें ये मैकेनिज्म होगा, ये इस तरह से यूज़ होगा. देन स्टार्ट राइटिंग इट. ओके, और जब आप वो राइट करते हो ना, हर एक पॉइंट का एक एक थंबनेल स्केच बनाओ. कि अगर आप बोलते हो कि मेरे डिज़ाइन में ये फंक्शन होना चाहिए, इसमें मोटर लगना चाहिए, तो ये मोटर ऐसे काम करेगा, तो मेक अ क्विक थंबनेल स्केच ऑफ इट, कि वो दिखेगा कैसे, वो वर्क कैसे करेगा. देन यू योरसेल्फ गिविंग सम रेफरेंस इमेज. आप अपने लिए एक रेफरेंस इमेज जनरेट कर रहे हो, जो आप लेटर ऑन व्हेन यू कंबाइन ऑल दिस थंबनेल स्केचेस टू मेक द वन आइडिया, तो आप उसको इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हो. सो अगेन व्हाट आई टॉक्ड अबाउट अर्लियर, ब्रेकिंग द प्रोडक्ट इनटू पार्ट्स. राइट. सो आइडिया को भी आप जो प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन करना चाहते हो उसको भी आप पार्ट्स में ब्रेक करके इज द अदर वे अराउंड, देन यू कैन ब्रिंग देम ऑल टुगेदर एट द इन द एंड एंड मेक योर whole complete design. Okay. If writing doesn't work, your writing feels blocked, okay, then start making quick paper models. तो आप मॉडल मेकिंग प्रोटोटाइप कर सकते हैं पेपर से, न्यूज़पेपर से, कार्डबोर्ड से, कुछ भी. ट्राई समथिंग, समथिंग डिफरेंट, सम डिफरेंट प्रोसेस, अ डिफरेंट मेथड. Even if that stuff makes you feel blocked, then talk your idea aloud, meaning that आप डिस्कस करो किसी से, discuss with your peers who are also preparing for design exam, or maybe discuss with your parents, maybe discuss about like what are the problems you face in your daily life, maybe your mother. So while she is cooking, तो कुछ जो utensils यूज कर रही है, तो वो यूटेंसिल्स में को प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है. ओके. जिसको इस जो ऑब्जर्वेशन करते हैं इसको बोलते हैं एथनोग्राफी. So you observe a person in their daily life, how they go about their activity. Okay. If you want to study more of ethnography, you can check it out on internet, or there's a videos on YouTube. तो एथनोग्राफी भी एक तरीका है क्रिएटिव आइडियाज को और ऑब्जर्वेशन प्रॉब्लम्स को ऑब्जर्व करना और उसके अकॉर्डिंग उसको कुछ आइडियाज जनरेट करना. ओके. So these are some of the techniques how you can overcome creative block. Okay. All right. Now this is the main thing, all the things which you need to apply, which you need to do. So I kept it very as simple as possible. I didn't want to give you the 100 things to do. Okay. But the things which are more very relevant, considering that जो हमारा जो एग्जाम जो टाइम जो बचा है बस एनआईडी का, इज जस्ट अबाउट अ मंथ अवे, एंड दीज आर वेरी मच डुएबल इन दिस 1 month, वेरी मच अचीवेबल. हमसे इससे बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट्स अचीव कर सकते हैं, प्रोवाइडेड वी स्टिक टू इट, वी आर कंसिस्टेंट एंड परसिस्टेंट in our practice, daily practices. Okay, that is one thing you have to do. All right. Now I'll show you some examples. These are the examples of design students who are in NID और IIT. Okay, जो ये इन्होंने एग्जाम्स आपकी तरह ही क्रैक किया पिछले साल और आज NID या IIT में है, और इन्होंने भी इसमें से कुछ ना कुछ प्रिंसिपल्स उन्होंने फॉलो किया while they were preparing for it. Okay, so I like to show you some 5 to 6 examples which I'll give you an idea also कि हमें किस तरह से ड्रॉ करना है, किस तरह से हमें आइडिया सोचने हैं, किस तरह के आइडियाज वर्क करते हैं एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. ओके. ऑलराइट. So this was a question which we had given to our students previous year. So this was a design aptitude question, and here they had to design a bed for a paralyzed person, and जो अपने डेली लाइफ में उसको ड्रेसिंग, बेथिंग, एक्सेस टू टीवी एंड एसी, वो वहाँ पर उसको हमेशा एक सेकंड पर्सन का असिस्ट करने की जरूरत पड़ती है. ओके. तो यू हैव टू डिजाइन अ डिवाइस फॉर सच अ पर्सन केटरिंग टू हिज बेसिक नीड्स. ओके. नाउ हियर व्हाट यू सी हियर इज that this student has designed a bed. Okay. And if you look at the ideas here, these ideas are something very simple. उसने कोई को बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स आइडिया नहीं उसने डाला है, समथिंग विच इज वेरी मच रिलेटेबल टू इट, विच आर यूज्ड बाय डिसेबल पीपल और in their everyday life. Okay. Not something very hypothetical, something which is tangible. Okay. So we are not please do not concentrate on quality, but over what is the idea, again, keep it simple. So let's look at another example. So this was question all about designing a small personal cooling device for a person who work in hot climate conditions, like such as construction workers, people working on जो खेतों में काम करते हैं किसान लोग, उनके लिए. So this student is design something which is a variable kind of thing. जो आपका बैग है, अगेन बैग अगर वेरी सिंपल आइडिया, उसको हम खोलेंगे, उसको निकाल के एक ऐसा हुड जैसा वो बन जाएगा. वो अगेन वेरी सिंपल आइडिया, राइट. एंड इट हैज सम फैंस टू इट काइंड ऑफ थिंग, जो मे बी एक बैटरी से ऑपरेट कर सकते हैं उसको. तो ऐसे भी पोर्टेबल फोन फैंस आते हैं. तो अगेन वेरी सिंपल सोल्यूशन, और यहाँ पर एक यूजर केस दिखा रखा है कि कैसे वो यूज होगा. ओके. सो अगेन वेरी सिंपल आइडिया एंड annotation करना पड़ता है, but again they have thought about the user pain points. Okay, explaining what are the function and features. You see very minimalistic presentation. You don't see very cluttered kind of design, right? So let's look at some more examples. So again, for same question, दूसरे student का idea. So he made it like more like a headphone. Again, taking inspiration from what already exists, है ना, जो already exists, उसको बस एक प्रोडक्ट, एक हेडफोन की तरह उसको एक उसने एक कूलिंग डिवाइस में कर दिया. सो हियर दिस पर्सन डज नॉट हैव टू थिंक अबाउट अ न्यू फॉर्म. तो जरूरी नहीं कि एक फॉर्म नया होना चाहिए. आप एक पर्टिकुलर एग्जिस्टिंग आइडिया को भी नए तरीके से उसको मॉडिफाई करके या कुछ और एड ऑन फीचर्स एड ऑन करके भी उसको आप आइडियाज में आप उसको बदल सकते हो, उसको प्रेजेंट कर सकते हो. ओके, अगेन वेरी मिनिमलिस्टिक core functions and features shown here. This is what is actually the exam NID, UCEED, and SEED are looking for. Nothing very complex, nothing very fancy. So let's look at some more examples. Okay, so this was a portable seat. Okay, so designing a portable seat. Again, very simple solution. Again, showing that how the seat will fold and unfold. And again, very simple idea. You don't require a very fancy looking design, stylish kind of design, which ultimately may not serve the purpose. Okay. Main kya tha? Portability, easy to carry in your bag, foldable, unfoldable. Okay, you can carry it anywhere. So all these things this design caters. Okay, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पर क्या है, ये यूजर नीड का, यूजर एंड यूजर के नीड को यहाँ पर ध्यान रखा गया है. तो इट हैज बीन केप्ट इन माइंड while designing it. Then again a bag, a vegetable bag. Okay, so people like they get tired while carrying on your shoulders. हम सब्जी लेके जाते हैं तो adjustable strap है, soft comfortable handle, eco-friendly material. Okay, so again very simple. Again not keeping it very complex, not keeping it very complex. All right. So let's look at some more examples. So this was for designing cutleries for small children. Now this is, I would say, uh, a very good example from exam point of view. I think I would say that be it NID, SEED and USEED, whatever be the exam, I would consider this example to be an ideal answer, or ideal solution and presentation for product design. So here the question was that to design some cutleries, set up cutleries for small children. Now, if you see here, the student has thought of the end user first. यानी कि वो एक छोटा बच्चा है, तो छोटे बच्चों को क्या अपील करता है? तो छोटे बच्चों को क्या अपील करता है? कलर्स, फैंसी कार्टून्स, सम characters whom they see on the TV or on the phone, wherever they are. Okay, very playful kind of form. तो अगर आप फॉर्म भी देखोगे बहुत शार्प एजेस नहीं है ना, बहुत राउंड है, सॉफ्ट मटेरियल है. ओके, and there's on the cap. So here on the cap, if you see, so the cap, you when you twist it, उससे कुछ म्यूजिक निकलता है. मे बी शायद कोई नर्सरी राइम्स निकले, कुछ ऐसा. तो एक बहुत एक इनोवेटिव आइडिया है. अगेन व्हाट अपील्स टू द यूजर, वो यूजर किस चीज से उसको जरूरत है. So I would say that this is one of the best examples of, catering all the what the end user needs और उनके लिए कैसे एक प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन किया जाना चाहिए. Okay, so I would consider this to be a very good example. Okay, all right. So this was some of the examples. I hope you learned a lot of things from it, and this would give you some ideas how to go about it, how to present your work. So all the layouts which I have shown, so these are good layouts, very simple one, not very technical, not something very complex. Okay, not you don't have to over kind of complex the things, how to present them work, how to draw it, keep it minimalistic as possible. Okay, and now, so I'll give you some closing tips. Okay, so अब इसको हमें नेक्स्ट 1 मंथ के लिए कैसे इसको हमें अप्लाई करना है, क्या क्या चीज हमें करने की जरूरत है. ठीक है, एंड दिस आर लाइक 4 to 5 स्टेप्स जो आपका डेली रूटीन होना चाहिए. इट्स लाइक अ डेली रूटीन काइंड ऑफ थिंग. ओके, एंड दिस इज समथिंग दैट very easy to execute, very easy to apply as well. So let's look at some, what are the tips and suggestions you can apply in your preparation. Okay, so first one is they have to practice. Daily practice बहुत जरूरी है. Okay, so you cannot procrastinate this. Practice daily is a must, is a mandatory, should be a daily habit of yours, of your routine. So when you're practicing, practice idea generation for 30 minutes daily. Daily 30 मिनट के लिए आप आइडिया जनरेशन करो. अगेन जनरेट थंबनेल्स, नॉट स्केचेस. स्केचेस आपके जो फाइनल आइडियाज होते हैं वो स्केचेस होते हैं. वो नहीं, जो जैसे मैंने पहले कहा था कि थंबनेल्स, वो थंबनेल्स रफ आइडिया हो सकते हैं, बहुत ही रफ आइडियाज हो सकते हैं, जो आपके दिमाग में आ रहा है, जो मैंने जो 50 बैड आइडियाज टेक्निक जो मैंने बोला था, वही चीज करना है, 30 मिनट तक करना है आपको, डेली करना है। कोई आप एक प्रॉब्लम उठाओ, डेली लाइफ का प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, ठीक है, वहां से शुरू करो, बहुत सिंपल, और वहां से उसके लिए आप आइडियाज जनरेट करना शुरू करो। जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट्स से दैट यू आर यूजिंग अ शार्पनर, उस शार्पनर को आपको कोई आके बोलता है कि इसको रीडिजाइन करो, ठीक है, इसको रीडिजाइन करो, मेक इट मच बेटर, मेक इट मोर यूजर फ्रेंडली। तो एक छोटे से प्रोडक्ट से हम लेके वी कैन स्टार्ट वर्किंग टुवर्ड्स मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोडक्ट्स, ठीक है। तो उस तरह से हम ऐसे स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं। प्रोडक्ट हो सकता है, कुछ सिस्टम हो सकता है, कुछ आप अपने डेली लाइफ में आपने ऑब्जर्व कर आपने किया होगा कि आपके सराउंडिंग्स में कि कुछ एक प्रॉब्लम डेली वो होती है, उसका अभी तक कोई सोल्यूशन किसी ने ढूंढा है, तो कोई भी चीज़ है आप उससे शुरू कर सकते हो। ओके, नेक्स्ट वन इज you have to build a visual library. This is very, very important. And this is very helpful also in creating a strong muscle, creative muscle. Okay. Visual library क्या होता है? The visual library is basically a selection of images, selection of images from internet, where these are the good references for your research, we can say, और for your idea generation, जिससे आप इंस्पिरेशन ले सकते हो। For creativity, आपको कहीं ना कहीं एग्जिस्टिंग आइडिया से आपको कहीं ना कहीं वो रेफरेंस लेना ही पड़ेगा, आपको इंस्पिरेशन लेना ही पड़ेगा आपको, बिकॉज आइडियाज, वॉट एवर आइडियाज आर जनरेटेड, वॉट एवर प्रोडक्ट्स आर डिजाइन इन द वर्ल्ड, दे आर बेस्ड ऑन समथिंग विच ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट। बस उसको इंटरप्रेट किया ऐसे कि एक नए रूप में या नए तरीके से मैं उसको इंटरप्रेट किया गया है। सो आई हैव रिटन सम वेबसाइट्स, Pinterest, we all of you know, so download some good reference of product design. And I'll show you at the end of this, I'll show you some product design references from Pinterest, which are good ones. Okay. Another one is that if you really want to enhance your creativity, अगर आप creative ideas आप करना कैसे creative ideas होते हैं, examples, good examples. So there's these two websites, which one is called yankodesign.com and another one is tuvi.com. Okay, these are websites which are very, very useful for product design ideas. And you'll see a lot of designers, semi-professional, professionals, and people who upload their work. And this is a very good reference from designing a very simple product to a very complex product. They have whole range of products over there in both these websites. I will seriously advise you to check these websites out and look at the creativity. Take those, even can create a visual library from yankodesign.com and tuvi.com and study them, analyze them. All right. Okay. Then think in functions, okay, not form. And we know there is a saying that form follows function, but not necessarily कि हर जगह ये चीज अप्लाई नहीं होता है. Sometimes you also think from functionality point of view. For example, if you're designing a very simple pen, अगर आप किसी के लिए पेन डिजाइन कर रहे हो, तो वहां पर एक फंक्शनैलिटी एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा ओवर अ फॉर्म. फॉर्म तो एक सिंपल हम उसको रख सकते हैं, लेकिन फंक्शनैलिटी में हम इनोवेटिव आइडियाज सोच सकते हैं. ओके, so specifically NID, UC and SEED, they're looking for something which is a purposeful innovation, not stylish products. Okay, that does not look very stylish, looks very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It is not, we are not designing a decorative item. आप ऐसे एक डिजाइन कर रहे हो, प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन कर रहे हो जो एक पर्पस को फुलफिल करता है या एक यूजर के नीड्स को केटर करता है, उसको फुलफिल करता है, उसकी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करता है. ओके, तो जरूरी नहीं कि हर टाइम form he should follow the function. It's not necessary. Okay, again that is the breaking the rule. जैसे मैंने शुरू में कहा था disclaimer में, that you can break the rule over here. All right, keep a small journal. As I said earlier in the session, आप जो भी नोटिस करते हो प्रॉब्लम्स किसी प्रोडक्ट में, किसी सिस्टम में, अपने सराउंडिंग्स में, आप उसका जर्नल रखो. Write that problem. This is the problem. Once you jot down all the problems, go back to your wherever you're practicing in your study room. Okay, take one problem and think of 10 possible ideas. So again, those ideas all the ideas doesn't have to be perfect. There have to be something which might work, Okay, all right. So like this, if you take one problem and if you tackle five problems and you are able to come up 10 possible products or ideas for each, you will have 50 ideas. Okay, out of 50 ideas, then you can narrow it down to the best possible ideas. All right. Okay. Then this one is very, very important, which a lot of students tend to do in our observation, in my experience of teaching students for so many years. A lot of students that seek for perfect ideas. In design, there is no perfect idea, or there are no perfect ideas. All the things which are designed in the real world, they do have some flaws. They do have some flaws, but they are not designed with the intention of making a perfect product or making a perfect innovation. No, it is to solve that particular problem at that point of time. जो उस समय के अनुसार जो प्रॉब्लम बहुत एग्जिस्ट करती है, जो बहुत ही एक कोर प्रॉब्लम है, उसका कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं निकल रहा है, उसके लिए डिजाइन किया जाता है। तो उसके लिए एक परफेक्ट आइडिया जरूरी नहीं है, आपको एक ऐसा आइडिया करना है जो टैंजिबल होना चाहिए। सो फोकस ऑन feasible and tangible ideas that could work in real life. This is what NIDs see it and you see it they are looking for. Your idea should be tangible or feasible. May not work 100%, but it should have some possibility of being tangible or feasible. तो जब आइडियाज आप सोचते हो तो आपको ये फोकस रखना है, क्या क्या मेरा प्रोडक्ट रियल लाइफ में काम करेगा? हाँ, अगर करेगा तो कैसे कर सकता है? तो फंक्शंस के थ्रू हो सकता है, फॉर्म के थ्रू हो सकता है, या कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ फंक्शन एंड फॉर्म हो सकता है। दैट इज योर कॉल, दैट इज योर आइडिया, तो यू हैव टू डिसाइड ओवर दैट। ओके, सो एज ए स्टूडेंट, तो एग्जाम क्या टेस्ट कर रहे हैं? क्रिएटिविटी, क्लैरिटी। क्लैरिटी मीनिंग ये दैट आपके जो आइडियाज हैं वो क्लियर होना चाहिए, आपको भी क्लियर होना चाहिए, अब जिसको आप ड्रॉ करके दिखा रहे हो उसको भी क्लियर होना चाहिए कि आपका आइडिया क्या है, क्या प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेगा, कैसे करेगा, और उसका एक्सपेक्टेड आउटकम क्या है। ओके, सो देयर आर थ्री थिंग्स इन डिजाइन वी से: why, what and how. Okay, why do we need to design? That is the problem you define. What is the solution? क्या solution आप डिजाइन करोगे इस प्रॉब्लम के लिए, और how मतलब वो कैसे काम करेगा in real life. Okay, so this is something that you can focus on. All right. Okay, so with this we come to end of this session. I hope that all these ideas will help you to practice. And as I promised, I'll show you some examples, good examples of how to generate thumbnail ideas quickly. किस तरह के ideas हो सकते हैं? So these ideas are kind of very generic, not very complex, and I have taken some references of from Pinterest. Okay, and these are something that you see in your everyday life. तो मैंने जो ideas जो मैंने यहाँ पर कुछ आपको मैं present कर रहा हूँ, तो these are ideas of something which you see in everyday life. Okay, all right, and you just should see it as a point of reference. ये आपके लिए reference है. So this is like a visual library. Okay, so here you will see that there are some there's a drill, there's a product design and industrial product design, and you see that there's a hero sketch, तो यहाँ पर colored है. Okay, so this is a hero sketch here, and around it there are a lot of this thumbnail sketches, so these are thumbnail sketches, some ideas, so there are some parts of it. Okay, so let's look at some more. So this is an idea for maybe like a single bed seater or capsule kind of thing. Okay, so again, different ideas. So if you see the shapes here, the shapes are very simple, geometrical shapes. You will see here, nothing very complex. Again, keeping the form very simple. Okay, if you make the form very complex, तो उसको draw करना, to draw it from memory will be again very difficult. Okay, so that is drawing part is something which I'll cover in another session. Okay, so but again, if you see that even and the work of people who are designing, they're keeping things simple. Some ideas for some hacksaw, again different ideas. Okay, but if you see the handle more or less are very similar, बस थोड़े थोड़े फीचर्स चेंज किए हैं, तो अब बस एक ही आइडिया को लेके उसको बस मॉडिफाई करना है, थोड़ा बहुत मॉडिफाई करना है उसको, ऐड सम फीचर्स टू इट, मे बी हैंडल को थोड़ा सा ऐसे चेंज कर दिया, वो ऐसे कहते हैं, ऐसे ओवरऑल करने की जरूरत नहीं है, छोटे छोटे स्टेप्स में आप क्रिएटिव आइडियाज डालो. सो लेट्स लुक एट सम मोर. So ideas for some lamps. Again, you see some very simple geometry shapes जो हम अपने real life में देखते हैं. This exists, right? Inspired from very cubical very like a polygonal kind of 3D shapes. Again, very, very simple. Okay. So if you keep yeah, things simple, आपको ideas बहुत quickly आएंगे. So don't over complex the process. So let's look at some other products. A very simple hammer. Okay. Again, थोड़ा सा form थोड़ा explore किया, लेकिन very similar to it. Okay. Very similar to a hammer which we use in real life. बस हल्का सा उसको मॉडिफाई किया है, लेकिन ओवरऑल फॉर्म ऑलमोस्ट सेम है. Okay. So let's look at one more. So again here an idea for thermometer. Again very simple ideas. You can understand the shape, you can understand the form, you can understand the product itself, right? So this is what the examiner is looking for. Examiner is not looking for something very complex. A watch, again an everyday product watch. Okay, again फिर उसको simple रखा गया है. Simple design. There is a measurement tape, I believe, on the strap, so inspired from something like a measuring tape kind of thing. So again, connecting two different products, good example of it. So again, everyday product, some shoes. Again, you see a lot of similarities here. बहुत similarities हैं shoes के design में. Okay, only thing कुछ modify किए हैं कुछ चीजें, लेकिन बहुत similar हैं. Okay, so when you are generating thumbnail sketches, to keep it as similar as possible. Then you can combine one or two ideas. So maybe let's say that, maybe I want to combine this idea with, say, maybe with this one. Okay, to create a new idea. तो हम filter और sort कर सकते हैं अपने एक final idea के लिए. So maybe what I'll do is that maybe take some form here, maybe some features form here, and make a combination of it. Okay, so this is something that how you should approach to product design questions. All right. Some last example. Again, an everyday product here, a chair. Again, very simple shapes. थोड़ा सा complex है, बहुत ज़्यादा complex नहीं है. Again, this is inspired from nature. This design has been inspired from nature. And as that's why I said that visual library is very, very important. आपको visual library वो create करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Okay. तो ये ideas आपको वैसे ही मिलेंगे. एक बहुत सिंपल शेप. नेचर इज अ वेरी गुड सोर्स ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन. आई वुड एडवाइस यू टू टेक एज मच इंस्पिरेशन फ्रॉम नेचर. I would say from architecture. Architecture is a very good source of inspiration for product ideas. Automobile sector is very good inspiration for fashion design. Is very good source of ideas for product design. Okay, so I hope that all these uh, ideas, all these pointers, all this process, and all the techniques which I explained to you in today's session will help you out to think creatively, to come up with better ideas. Okay, so are there any questions? As I'm saying, sir, I think not a lot of questions have been asked. So I hope that everything was clear to you, what I said to you, and I hope this really helps you to think of very creative and innovative ideas. Okay, so uh, thank you very much for joining the session. And are there any questions? So please do write it in the chat, in the live chat there. I can answer maybe few questions. I have some few times, 5 to 6 minutes. Okay. So are there any questions? So are there any questions? Okay. So is there any questions? Are there any questions? Okay. So I think there are no any more questions. Okay. So thank you once again, and I'll see you in next section. Bye.